Hey everyone, Daniel here from the Truck Insurance Channel. In this video, I'm talking about filling out the FMCSA application for semi-truck operations. So if you got a semi-truck, you want to fill out the authority application on your own, follow along as we do this, okay? First off, I just want to say you can pay people to do this. Lots of people will do this for a fee. But honestly, if you're just starting off and you're going to have your own company, I think you should wait to start delegating things until you've got a good grasp on how everything works, have systems and things in place for when you start hiring people and then delegate. You know, there's some things that you can't do on your own. That's totally fine. Like with insurance, we'll help you with that. But everything you can do on your own, you probably should to start until you got it all figured out. That way you're not so dependent. That's one thing that I see a lot of people do is they start up a trucking company by hiring everyone to do everything for them, and then they don't have a clue what's going on when like something goes wrong and they're stuck waiting on someone to help them. You don't want to put yourself in that position. But anyways, first thing we're going to do, come over here to FMCSA. All right, we'll go straight into their website. And then registration, apply for a new USDOT number and or authority. So this is the URS, the Unified Registration System. And you're going to be a new applicant. Obviously, like if you're a returning applicant, you need help, have questions about what to do in that scenario. You've already applied before. Feel free to schedule a call with us. We can certainly help. Or you can just call us anytime that we're open. Or like I said, schedule a call if that's more convenient for you. You can also email. There's going to be lots of information in the description, so make sure you check that out. And here we go. So new applicant. Next. All right. Important information. You want to read all this, but to summarize, as soon as you do this, you need to do your BOC3 filing. And then before you can go active, 21 days from the time you submit this, roughly, like if there's holidays, maybe add on a day or two for that. But as soon as you do this, you'll need to do the BOC3 filing. There'll be a link below for that and another video on how to do it. It's one of the easiest things that you will do in this whole process of getting your authority up and running. It's super simple, costs like $25-30, not a big deal. So that, and then insurance, once you get your insurance in place, which we like to do right before that 21st day of the waiting period. We don't like to do it any sooner because you can't go active, you can't hit the road, and as soon as you start your insurance, you're going to have monthly payments every 30 days. So I don't like to waste time and money. Hope you don't either. There's a panel over here, how to navigate. It's pretty self-explanatory. One thing that's super important is preparation for this. If you haven't watched the video I put together on everything you need to do to prepare prior to actually applying, doing this application here, make sure you check out that video. It's in the description as well. You want to take really good notes, right? So like usernames, passwords, the stupid questions they ask you for security purposes. Make sure you write down the question and the answer, like how you type it, how you punctuate or capitalize anything. All that's really important so you don't get stuck and locked out of the systems you need access to. Use, a Google Word document, something secure where you can easily access from any device, especially like if you lose your phone or your laptop breaks or whatever you got. Like make sure it's cloud-based so you can save it, use it on other devices. So financial responsibility notice. Yep. So if you're filling this out and you're the responsible party, it's your business, whatever. Easy enough. Continue. All right. Designation of process agent. That goes to the BOC3. Not that big a deal. Issuance of active USDOT number. All right. Certifications and oath signature notice. This is all just like regulatory legal stuff. Feel free to scroll through this and actually read it if you want. Like I said, good idea to understand what you're getting into. I'm not going to read all that for you in this video. So we want to choose my own password, user applicant ID. That's one of the things that you probably want to write down. If you start this application and then you can't finish it for whatever reason, you get stuck somewhere, make sure you have your applicant ID and your password so you can come back to it. All right. So password, we'll put in something easy here. I think it does actually have to be kind of long. Yeah, 12 characters, one number, one special character, all that crap. Security questions. What was my high school mascot? Elephant. That wasn't really mine. I'm just making stuff up here. This is also things you might want to write down in case you forget. Least favorite vegetable. I can never remember how to spell broccoli. Let's say carrots. All right. And that's carrots. See, I put plural there. Like you might forget that you made it plural and then get the question wrong and you're locked out forever. That's just the scenario where like you want to make sure you have all this stuff notated. What is the make of my first car? I actually had a Honda. All right, application contact. All right, this is the person. You're going to designate yourself for all of these unless you're filling it out for someone else. Company contact. So my name is Daniel. Oops, there we go. Summers. Application contact title. I'm the owner of this company. 123 Main Street. We're based out of Concord, North Carolina. This is pretty simple and straightforward. Boom. 28025 is my zip code. All right. Contact telephone number. This is so important. If you put in a number here that you don't want people calling a million times, well, you're going to be sad. I'm making up a number, but you want to put a number in here so people can contact you. You could always update this later too. It doesn't have to be a number like the FMCSA is not going to call you. They will only send you letters in the mail. And we'll get to the importance of your addresses here in just a second. Daniel@trucking.com. And then again, trucking.com. Application preferred contact method. Oh. But like I said, they're not really going to contact you for anything. All right, so that's good to go. Yes, I know they're going to want to suggest a different address. All right, well, I'll put our business address in here. All right, so now business description. All right, do you have a Dun & Bradstreet number? If you watch the prep video link below and you went ahead and got a Dun & Bradstreet number, you can click yes, type that in, or click no, and it'll skip putting in the Dun & Bradstreet number. What is the legal business name? So if you registered an LLC, make sure you put, the LLC on there. If I called mine Daniel Trucking LLC, I don't leave it just Daniel Trucking. I need the LLC on there. Like whatever was registered with your state, like Secretary of State, needs to be here, right? If you have a DBA, don't put Daniel Trucking LLC DBA, whatever the DBA is, because there's a next line or another question for doing business as. So that's your DBA name. If you didn't register a DBA name, don't put another name here just to fill in the box. Leave it blank. All right. So like if you had an LLC and you'd registered a DBA because you want to do a separate operation, you want to do trucking in addition to whatever else you were doing, you might have a DBA. For the most part, I recommend stay away from DBAs. Keep everything simple. If you have one, this is where you put it. If you don't have one, you should know that you don't have one. If you didn't ever get asked about a DBA, then you put nothing here. Like, it's simple enough. All right. Principal place of business address. Okay, so this is the physical address. If you have a virtual address, do not put that address here. You could put your home address. You could put, I would put my home address if I don't have an actual physical location. Whatever matches your driver's license. This is super important to insurance and underwriters particularly. If you mess this up, you're going to have way less options for insurance, especially down the road. Of course, you could change this later. If you've already messed this up, you can fix it. It's pretty easy. But man, don't put a virtual address right here. So applicant's principal place of business, the same as the applicant's contact address. Yes. Easy enough. All right. So I already got all that in there. Mailing address. If you do have a virtual address, this is where you can put the virtual address. All right. It's not going to hurt you to use a virtual address for your mailing address. It actually could benefit you. A lot of virtual address services do mail scanning. So like whatever you get sent to you will be scanned. And then like if you're out on the road for weeks at a time, at least you know what mail is coming in and you can work with it that way. But anyways, I'm putting no, but if you do have a virtual address or you want a separate mailing address, put it here. All right. A lot of people mess that up with the virtual addresses, and it's a big issue. All right, phone number again. It's going to ask you some repetitive stuff, right? And the reason being is because you could have, multiple people in the business. If you're just, if it's just you, then keep it simple. I don't put a fax number in. You don't really need a fax number. Like nothing bad's going to happen if you don't have a fax number. All right. If you have an LLC or a corporation, whatever, you should have an EIN as well. If you don't, link below, check that out. And if you are a sole proprietor, I highly recommend you incorporate as an LLC, more than likely an LLC. But if you wanted to do a corporation, partnership, whatever else, that's fine too. But I really try to advise people not to do a sole proprietorship, which is where you'd just be using your social. You don't have a tax ID, a business registered, anything like that. Just get an LLC. It's easy. All right. Is the applicant a unit of government? No. I wish they wouldn't even ask that. All right. Here's the business description. Let's just say you are a limited liability company, an LLC, and you form that, like, let's say we form that in our state of North Carolina. All right. Ownership and control. Yep. Owned in the United States, controlled in the United States. All right. Company contact number 1, first name. So there's company contact, there's application contact. They can be the same person. They could be different. For this, we're making it easy. We're making everything the same person, as if you're, the only person starting this company. I don't remember what I used earlier, but you want to make sure your email is the same. United States, again and again and again. Oh my gosh, there we go. Okay, street address. All right, so business description, company contact address. Again, this is the physical address. Could be your home address. That's totally fine. Not a big deal there. Just make sure you only use virtual addresses for mailing addresses. That's the most important thing to remember. If you're putting a virtual address anywhere that's not a mailing address, you are messing up. Well, you might not be completely messing up, but you're making life harder. You're giving yourself less options. Moving right along. It says like 22% up here, but watch, it's going to bump up. Not by much. Jeez. All right, keep going along. All right, so intermodal equipment providers. Now, this might apply to you. If you're going to go to the rail yards and to the ports, then you're going to have to go through the whole intermodal process. We've got some other videos for that. But for this application, we're just going to say no. But if you are, you can just click yes to this. It's pretty easy. It's not a big difference. The difference is after you finish this application. Will the applicant transport property? Yes. That's important. Will the applicant receive compensation for the business of transporting the property belonging to others? So you're hauling for others. You're going on load boards. You've got contracts for direct shippers. Whatever the scenario is, you're moving other people's stuff and getting paid for it. Yes. That's the most common thing here. All right, now here's one area where people will mess up. Some people like to click everything. Some people think household goods means general freight, and it does not. Stay away from household goods. If you're doing hazardous material, click that. But household goods is where you go pack up someone's house and move them from A to B. All right, that's not like finding loads on the load board and doing general freight. General freight's over here with other non-hazardous freight. Exempt commodities, if you're doing like agricultural stuff, you might click that. This video isn't really for those people. If you're just doing regular general freight, which is kind of like the audience of this video, click other non-hazardous freight, and let's be easy about it. All right. Will the applicant transport non-hazardous materials across state lines? Are you going to cross state lines? Yes. All right. You want an MC? That's because you're crossing state lines? Yes. Interstate. Interstate means across state lines. Intrastate means just staying in the one state you are located in. All right. Will the applicant transport their own property? Let's say no. All right. You might move your own stuff every once in a while, but you're not like doing it for business. Right. That's like if you manufactured something and you need to transport it to somewhere else, that would be moving your own property. That's not what we're looking at here. All right. Will the applicant transport any passengers? No. God, no. Property or household goods broker services? No. If you want to open up a brokerage, we'll do some videos on that later. Stay away from brokerage stuff while you're applying for your motor carrier authority. Sometimes people want to click that and it messes things up. All right, freight forwarder, similar to a freight broker, it's totally separate authority. And you'll know if you mess this up at the end. The application for a regular general freight motor carrier is $300. If it's more than $300, you probably answered this question or the previous question wrong. All right, cargo tank facility. No. keep it simple. Drive away. No, but if you are, that's something we can still help you with. That's totally different though. And the image kind of describes it, right? There's another scenario of drive away, but we're not focused on that for this video. Tow away. Nope. All right. You're going to be very tempted to come in here and click everything. As a general freight interstate motor carrier, stick with just general freight. Unless you have like a pending contract or something already set up with a shipper, broker, whatever, and you know you're going to be hauling nothing but, like for instance, metal, sheets, coils, rolls, then you would select that. Otherwise, if you're looking to just get started, hit the load boards, stick to just general freight. Don't go clicking a bunch of things. One exception to that, you might be hauling cars or vehicles. Put motor vehicles on there along with general freight. All right. Always keep that combo if you're going to do vehicles. Otherwise, don't do anything but general freight. Okay. Easy enough. Intermodal containers, if you are in that intermodal group, I'm just kind of mentioning that in case someone's watching that's planning on doing intermodal. You could select that if you know you're going to do intermodal. If you're not sure about anything besides general freight, only select general freight. Keep it simple. We can always update this. It's super easy to update if you need to change for operational reasons or something later on. We can help you with that. The main thing is to keep this simple so insurance doesn't get complicated and limited. The more stuff you mess up on this application, the less options you have for insurance. And that's like the whole point of this. All right, please provide the number of non-commercial motor vehicles the applicant plans to operate. 0. We're not putting any non-commercial vehicles on your authority or insurance for the time being. All right, so straight trucks, 0. Truck tractors, let's just start with 1. Trailer, if you own one, put 1. If not, you could do trip leased, term leased. That'd be kind of like trailer interchange. If you're doing intermodal, you might have some numbers here. And actually, I think I got to put zeros in all of these. Let's just say you own 1. If not, that's fine. And again, something you can always go back and update if need be. Main thing is get that DOT number and MC number started with this application. All right. Please provide the number of commercial motor vehicles the applicant will operate in Canada or Mexico. Let's put 0 for now. If you need help with that, we might be able to help you out, but for now, again, keeping it simple. Please provide CMVs. Applicant will operate solely in interstate. 1. Interstate, crossing state lines. Now it's going to ask you about the number of vehicles that you will operate solely in intrastate, so you're not going to cross state lines. If you do plan on staying intrastate, something else we can help out with on the insurance side, but for purposes of this video, we're putting 0 because most of the people watching this video are going to be interstate motor carriers. Moving forward, that's just a summary. Next is pertaining to drivers. So we just finished up the vehicle section. All right, what is the number of drivers who will operate as interstate within a 100 air mile radius? And you might think, how is that possible? Well, some cities are really close to state lines and they only drive 100 miles. We're not focused on that right now, so we're going to say 0, and then beyond 100 air mile radius, 1. If you plan on hiring more drivers, we can update that later. But for now, if you're going to be the only driver to start, just put 1. Or if you're only going to have 1 driver to start, 1 truck, just put 1. Keep everything at 1s to start. That's a good idea when it comes to underwriting too for insurance. 0. We're not keeping any solely in intrastate. They're going to cross state lines. All right. What are the number of drivers with a commercial driver's license? So CDLs. So again, this is for semis. So we're definitely gonna have 1 CDL driver at least. You might be starting off as a team driver too. You could put 2 for the number of drivers, whatever. That's totally fine. It does limit options for insurance just a little bit, but if that's what you plan on doing, that's something we can help you out with. All right. Number of drivers going to Canada and Mexico, 0 and 0. There are options for it. It's just it complicates things a little bit if you want to cross the borders. All right, financial responsibility. In the operation classification section of this application, you specify the entity will be transporting property interstate and for compensation. Will any of this property get transported in vehicles that weigh more than 10,001 pounds? Well, I don't know of any semis that weigh less than that, so yes, over 10,000 pounds. That's real important. All right, so it's going to tell you what your financial responsibility, like insurance requirement is. And guys, everybody starts to get weird about this. The FMCSA doesn't care if you have more than $750,000 in auto liability. All the brokers and shippers want to see $1 million. You do not need the FMCSA to show 1 million for your BIPD, which is also known as your auto liability. People trip over this all the time. They think the FMCSA needs to show 1 million because that's what the brokers care about. It does not. It does not. It does not. I've helped thousands of people start trucking companies. I know what I'm talking about. The FMCSA just doesn't have the same standards as the people that you're actually going to work for or with. All right, so leave it at that. The only time this should show 1 million is if you're hauling cars. If you're hauling cars, then that's like a step up in the non-hazardous property category because there could be fuel in the tanks and oil in the motors of the cars you're hauling. So that kind of like upgrades you a little bit on financial responsibility limits. But anyways, $750 for general freight, right? That's okay. Your policy is going to end up being 1 million once you hit the road and you're actually hauling, because that's what everybody's going to want, unless you have some shipper relation and they just don't care. A lot of times in the semi world, I'll have loggers where whoever they're hauling logs for don't care, so they keep it at 750 limits. But most of the time, we're going to see $1 million limit for anyone that you work with. The FMCSA just has lower standards. Keep that in mind. And let's hope they stay that way, because they've talked about increasing it to 2 million, and that makes insurance a good bit more expensive. All right, affiliation with others. All right, if you have any affiliation with other motor carriers, okay, like you used to own another motor carrier and you got a bunch of bad scores and now you can't find insurance, so you're starting a new authority, you're not supposed to do that. And this is saying that you don't. So there's other scenarios, but that's the most common one. All right, like if you crashed and burned with a previous authority, man, yeah, that's a bad situation. All right, so we're not affiliated with anyone else. And also, if you're trying to do that anyways, there are so many ways to get caught doing it. It's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. All right, certification statement. I promise all the stuff I said is true. Your application password. Remember how I told you to write down passwords? This is why, because now you need it again. All right. And today's date. Good deal. Next. Compliance certifications. All right. So, yes, I certify. Because if you don't, you're not getting authority. You can read through all this, by the way. I recommend that you do, so at least you know what you're reading. Or try to, anyways. And then, yep, I certify. Keep on moving. Yep, I certify again. There's so many certifications and oaths and stuff you have to type in your name and email and password over and over again for. We're going to run through all this, but you take your time, read all of them. If you're confused about any of them, again, feel free to reach out to us. We can help you out answering any of those questions. We don't charge for it. We want to help you out with insurance and make sure you get off on the right foot for a successful business. So it's important for us to make sure our customers are successful. It's the only way we can be successful. All right, applicant oath. Not only did you have to certify, but now you have to oath. All right, and here's that signature, e-signature again, which is just your password. If you forgot it, I think you can reset it. All right, moving along. Continue. All right, should the company official role be assigned to the company contact? Yes. Unless you have a different scenario, then let's just disregard that. You're going to be the main contact for everything. You're wearing all the hats. All right. User ID and password. Okay. Please enter non-government email ID as user ID. People mess this up all the time. They try and just make a user ID. It needs to be the email. You're going to receive anything from the FMCSA should they ever actually email you, which they normally won't unless you request something from them. Like you give them a call and say, hey, I want a copy of my letter of authority. Once you actually go active, you can call and do that instead of waiting for it to come in the mail. Otherwise, they're pretty much not going to email you. Like if you don't call and ask for something from them, they're not going to email you. They're going to send you everything in the mail. But anyways, this needs to be an email address, not just a regular user ID. So daniel@trucking.com. The password can be a new password, but I'm going to use the same one I did for the application. This is all for your FMCSA portal, by the way. Easy enough. I don't know if I got that right. Email again. which is kind of like counterintuitive, but whatever. You'd think they could just, you know, use the user ID since it has to be an email as the email that you need to be able to verify. But hey, man, whatever. Oops. All right, method of contact. If you're going to be on the road, you probably want email. You could choose both. But the problem there is once you do something, they're going to send a letter, and by the time you get it, you're going to think that you have to do something else, but it's already done. I prefer email for contact methods. They'll still send you letters for everything. All right. Now, would you like to use the same security questions? Yes, why not? The ones you did at the very beginning, they can come right over. Make sure you made notes of those. So once you do all this, the FMCSA is going to send you your FMCSA Portal PIN, and everyone loses that or just never receives it or doesn't write it down. Super important you get a hold of that letter and write down that PIN number. All right, I'm recording this video right now, October 9th. I'm pretty sure the PIN password or PIN reset, like online, that you can do is still down. It's been down for, I think, over a month now. So the only way to get a PIN is to wait like 10 days for it to come in the mail, which might have been the reason you never got it in the first place because you have issues with the mail. So make sure, I can't stress this enough, that once you get your PIN, you save it somewhere. You're going to need it a bunch. All right, next. All right, I certify. All right, promise, blah, 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 blah. And I'm the owner. And yes, I acknowledge. It'd be way worse than that. I acknowledge yet again. Click. There we go. Payment info. $300. We know we did it right because it's only $300. All right. So, and you can read this. FMCSA has determined the applicant will operate as for hire property carrier general freight. All right. They didn't say interstate, but they probably should to really define your classification. But yeah, that's it. You're good. All right. So one thing I messed up on when I did this was I was using a MasterCard and I forgot to click MasterCard. So I tried putting in my card number like 10 times before I realized that I actually have to click what type of credit card to use. Pay attention to that. E-signature is that password, and then submit. And what's going to happen next? You're going to get the DOT number right away. You're also going to start getting phone calls, emails, text messages. People even do these voicemail drops. So you don't even hear the phone ring. You just have a voicemail notification. You're going to get blown up. So the phone number and email you put in there, if you didn't watch the prep video, you want to make sure you're prepared for all this. And for the most part, you can ignore all of it, right? Like the FMCSA is not going to do anything but send you letters in the mail. So pay attention for the letters coming in the mail for the FMCSA. You're going to get 2 initially, one about the new entrant audit. Got a video for that. Don't worry about that right now. And then additional requirements to go active. As soon as you finish this application, starting the next business day, you start counting 21 calendar days. All right. So if you do this Friday night, your 21-day waiting period starts on Monday, unless Monday's a holiday, then add another day. Okay. And you do calendar days. So, you know, if I did this on the 1st, more than likely the 22nd, I can go active as long as there's no holidays in between. Anytime there's holidays in between, add a day. You want to get your BOC3 filing done at any point between now that you finished applying and that 21st day, prior to the 21st day, because it's got to get submitted, and then the FMCSA has to update. Every time the FMCSA has to update, the update normally goes through the next business day. So keep that in mind with insurance and with the BOC3 filing. If you don't already have an insurance quote, you should definitely be doing that. I recommend getting a quote prior to doing this application because you don't know how much that's going to cost, and you don't want to waste $300 on this application not knowing how much insurance is going to run you. It might completely kill the business model idea dream, right? Like if insurance is just going to be too much, then I wouldn't bother with this. And we can help you with that. So we can get, like, even before you apply and register a business name, we can put everything in there exactly what it's going to be once you have everything in place to get the most accurate quote. We can do that. Even if you don't have a vehicle yet, we can do that. We've got a database of VIN numbers, not a big deal. If you're currently shopping, we can use the ones that you're shopping for or ones similar. Not a big deal. We'll get it super accurate. We work with you on that. Make sure you check out all the links below. There's a ton of good stuff for getting the trucking company started. A lot of resources there. And again, you know, give us a call, schedule a call if that's better for you. Shoot us an email. We're happy to help. Keep on chugging along through this. There's a bunch more videos. We've got a whole series for starting a semi-truck business. So check all those videos out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.